Welcome back to Africa Now, your trusted source for empowering stories from across the continent. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. And to our loyal viewers, we appreciate your continued support. Today, we bring you an inspiring report from Burkina Faso, one that captures the spirit of resilience, economic sovereignty, and national transformation. It's a story that goes beyond politics and economics. It's about dignity, leadership, and the power of local industry to change lives. Before we dive in, we want to share a brief but essential disclaimer. At Africa Now, we are committed to peace, unity, and mutual respect. We report stories that may involve sensitive issues, but our purpose is never to incite conflict or division. Instead, we strive to educate, inform, and uplift through truthful and respectful storytelling. Our goal is to highlight Africa's potential and promote a culture of solution-driven discourse across the continent. Now, let's get into today's story. On Friday, May 23, 2025, President Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso made a highly symbolic and strategic visit to a revitalized cashew processing plant in the industrial zone of Bobo-Dioulasso. The plant, Société Nouvelle Antrans SA, had been dormant for almost a year. It was once a critical player in the country's agricultural value chain before facing financial collapse and the withdrawal of its foreign partner in 2024. But what was once a story of setback has now become a beacon of rebirth. This visit was not merely ceremonial. It was a declaration of intent, a statement that Burkina Faso is determined to regain control over its economic destiny. Through government intervention, national ownership, and a renewed sense of purpose, the factory is not just operational again, it's thriving, with a mission rooted in national sovereignty and self-reliance. When President Traoré arrived, he was warmly welcomed by the plant's general manager, Adeline Nibonwansamda, who couldn't hide her emotion. Her words summed up the atmosphere perfectly. "We are happy and honored to welcome you to SN Anatrans SA, the factory that, thanks to you and your vision for our country, has now become our own." And indeed it has. This isn't just a business reopening. It's a turning point, a symbol of what's possible when leadership, policy, and community align for the public good. Let's rewind for a moment and understand why this matters. Anatrans SA was founded in 2008 and quickly rose to prominence as a key exporter of processed cashew nuts, a high-demand commodity on global markets. It not only brought in foreign revenue but also provided hundreds of jobs and a reliable buyer for thousands of smallholder farmers. But in July 2024, when the foreign investor pulled out and funding dried up, the factory was forced to shut its doors. The impact was devastating. Workers were laid off. Farmers lost access to the market. A vital cog in the nation's economic machine stopped turning. Fast forward to 2025, and the transformation is remarkable. Thanks to strategic investment by the Burkina Fund for Economic and Social Development, FBDES, the state now holds a 20% stake in the company. More importantly, 100% of its ownership is now Burkinabe. That change is monumental, not just in terms of equity, but in ideology. It reflects a shift toward national ownership, local control, and a governance model that prioritizes the people. And the results speak for themselves. More than 1,300 jobs have been restored, with 90% of those positions held by women. That's not only an economic milestone, it's a social achievement. Women now form the backbone of this revitalized enterprise, creating ripples of empowerment across the community. Over 5,000 farmers once again have access to a stable buyer for their organic and fair trade certified cashew nuts, revitalizing rural livelihoods and strengthening local economies. This development showcases what visionary leadership can achieve when matched with strong policy and community engagement. President Traoré's walk through the factory floor wasn't just a PR stunt, it was a moment of solidarity. As he shook hands with workers, observed the processing lines, and spoke to employees, he underscored the deeper mission at play. "This is your factory. This is your future," he told them. His message was clear. The struggle for sovereignty isn't just about waving a flag or holding a speech. It's about owning the means of production, adding value locally, and ensuring that Africa's wealth benefits Africans first. That's the essence of economic sovereignty. Too often, African countries export raw materials and import finished goods, bleeding both wealth and potential. This model keeps nations dependent, undermines job creation, and externalizes profits. But in Bobo-Dioulasso, we're seeing a different narrative unfold, one where raw materials are transformed domestically, workers share in the wealth, and public-private partnerships serve the national interest. Let us take a moment to thank our viewers and supporters. At Africa Now, your engagement makes this possible. Whether you've subscribed, liked a video, commented, or shared our stories, thank you. Your support allows us to keep shining a light on transformative efforts like this one. If you'd like to go a step further, consider becoming a channel member or sending a super thanks. Every contribution helps us dig deeper, travel farther, and bring you the stories that matter. Now back to the story. President Traoré used the occasion to highlight how far the country has come and how far it still needs to go. He reminded everyone that this revival wasn't easy. After the collapse of the previous partnership, the future looked bleak, but the people didn't give up, and neither did the government. Instead of waiting for foreign aid or external bailouts, Burkina Faso invested in itself. It placed trust in its people. It believed that with the right support, Burkinabe workers, farmers, and managers could not only keep the factory alive, but make it stronger than ever. That belief is now bearing fruit. Beyond the walls of the factory, the implications are massive. The cashew industry is just one example. The same model of national investment and ownership can be applied across sectors: textiles, mining, agro-processing, renewable energy, and more. Each one of these sectors holds untapped potential for value addition, job creation, and national growth. And this is exactly what President Traoré and his administration envision: a Burkina Faso that doesn't merely survive within a global system, but actively reshapes it. A country that leverages its resources for its own development and that of future generations. Of course, challenges remain. Ensuring long-term profitability, maintaining international quality standards, and scaling market access are critical next steps. But the foundation is solid. What's more important is the change in mindset, a shift from dependency to agency, from extraction to transformation. And let's be clear, this isn't just about Burkina Faso. Across the continent, African nations are waking up. They are reassessing exploitative arrangements, reevaluating foreign partnerships, and demanding fairer terms of trade. The revival of SN Anatrans SA is part of this broader continental awakening, an example of what can happen when a nation says enough to marginalization and yes to its own potential. This story is a blueprint. It shows what's possible when state institutions, local industries, and the people unite around a shared goal. It shows that sovereignty isn't an abstract idea. It's a lived experience that begins with ownership, control, and vision. It's also a reminder that change requires sacrifice. Turning away from foreign investors, especially those who control vital infrastructure, is never easy. But sometimes sovereignty demands it. Sometimes nations must reject quick fixes and choose the harder path towards self-determination. Because in the long run, it's that path that leads to dignity, development, and true freedom. So as we close this report, let's celebrate not just a reopened factory, but a reborn spirit. Let's recognize the courage it takes to chart a new course and the power of people to rise when given the chance. Thank you for watching Africa Now. If this story inspired you, please share it with others who care about Africa's future. Drop a comment and let us know what you think. Do you see similar developments in your country or community? Let's keep the conversation going, because every story like this brings us one step closer to the Africa we believe in: strong, united, and sovereign. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep believing in Africa's rise. One factory, one vision, one community at a time.